There is a reason the world's sharpest men, those who bend fate, who steer empires, who walk through fire untouched, treat love like a loaded weapon, not because they are heartless, but because they know the oldest secret of power. Love, when unguarded, does not lift a man. It bends him, softens him, leaves him exposed in the very places he was once invincible. We like to believe love is the root of greatness, that behind every legend stands a woman, the muse, the gentle flame. But Machiavelli whispers the uncomfortable truth. Love, if you kneel before it, is not a source of strength. It is a leash. Ask yourself, when did your will waver? When did your discipline fade? When did you start making excuses, skipping the gym, softening your words, ignoring your purpose, just to keep her happy? It doesn't happen all at once. It starts with small concessions, small surrenders. The proud lion who once ruled the wild, slowly, almost sweetly, becomes a pet, domesticated by affection, tamed by his own longing. This is not a call to cynicism. This is a warning. History is littered with men who had the world in their hands and lost it in pursuit of a love that devoured them from within. Samson, who traded his power for Delilah's touch. Caesar, undone not by enemies, but by affairs of the heart. Mark Antony, Rome's most formidable general, who abandoned military campaigns to feast with Cleopatra and ultimately chose suicide over living without her. These were not weak men. They were titans who commanded armies, shaped nations, wrote their names in history, yet all fell to the same trap. Machiavelli knew, the man who loves blindly becomes a man led, not leading. And so the world urges you, find love, settle down, give yourself away. But the world does not pay your price. Every time you lower your guard, every time you compromise your mission for comfort, the invisible chains grow tighter. Underneath every poem and love song, there is a darker logic. Love is not an equal exchange. It is a game of leverage, and often, the one who loves less holds the reins. This is mathematical. In every relationship, there is a pursuer and a pursued, one who needs more and one who can walk away. The power always flows toward the one who can live without the other. Observe your own life. Recall the moments when your ambition burned hot and pure. You were alone, perhaps even lonely, but you were dangerous, unmovable, focused on your mission. Your thoughts were your own. Your time was your own. Then came the promise of closeness, a hand in yours, a voice that soothed. At first it seemed like addition, but slowly, subtly, it became subtraction. Your time became shared time. Your plans became joint plans. Your dreams began to require her approval. You traded your clarity for comfort. This is the oldest trade in the world, and it rarely ends in your favor. Look at the men around you, once full of potential, now begging for approval from those they once could have walked away from. They check their phones obsessively, analyze every text message, plan their days around someone else's moods. These men had dreams once. They had plans, ambitions. But somewhere along the way, they made their partner's happiness more important than their own growth. Society calls it maturity. Your friends call it growing up. The world applauds when a man settles down, as if wildness were a flaw to be corrected. But as time passes, you start to realize something is wrong. The dreams that once consumed your thoughts have been replaced by domestic concerns. Machiavelli understood that a ruler who becomes soft, who needs to be loved more than he needs to be respected, is already conquered. A man who loses his indifference to love becomes a servant to those he cannot control. The truth is merciless. Love, unless mastered, will master you. Consider Steve Jobs. He was notoriously difficult in relationships, maintaining emotional distance even with close partners. This wasn't cruelty, it was strategy. By never becoming emotionally dependent, he maintained his focus and retained respect from those around him. People worked harder to earn his approval because it wasn't freely given. Contrast this with men who make love their highest pursuit. Men who pour themselves into relationships, seeking wholeness in someone else's eyes. They give up the restless edge that once made them magnetic. They trade their mystery for transparency, their independence for interdependence. Soon, they are left not with lasting love, but with regret. Abandoned, forgotten, no longer the formidable force their partners once craved. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, either by love or by fear. But which impulse builds empires? Which forges legends? Fear is sharp. Fear is a teacher. Love, unexamined, is a drug, softening the mind, dulling the senses, turning warriors into supplicants." Machiavelli's lesson was never to reject love completely, but to master it, to understand its shadow, its cost. The truly strong man gives warmth, but not his backbone. He can offer his time, his presence, his laughter, but not his throne. For the throne is sacred. The throne is his mission, his code, the promise he made to himself before anyone else ever spoke his name. Those who keep their power guard their love like treasure. They choose carefully, invest sparingly, never make themselves cheap or easy to reach. They know that those who love too freely are rarely respected, by the world or by the very ones they seek to please. Somewhere along the path, every man must face this silent crossroads, to be ruled by longing or to rule over it, to place his mission above all, or to surrender it for the soft promise of being understood. The world is not a nursery, it is a chessboard, and every emotion is a move, every affection a potential liability. The man who can stand in solitude, who can walk away without his soul unraveling, who can say no even to the sweetest temptation, that is the man others fear. That is the man the world respects. What made them different was not a lack of love, but an unwillingness to let it dictate their direction. They saw affection as a privilege, not a right. They gave warmth from strength, not from need. Indifference is not absence of feeling. It is presence of power. It is the discipline to choose what matters over what is easy, to hold the line against the slow erosion of your potential. When you do not fear loss, you cannot be manipulated. When you do not crave approval, you cannot be used. You become unpredictable, unbreakable, a force that bends the world to your will, rather than folding to its demands. This is the silent law behind every lasting kingdom, every legendary name. The man who controls his own need for love becomes the only one truly free to love. You were not born to be tamed. You were not made to bow. The fire in your chest is not there to be extinguished by the warmth of another. It is there to light the world, to burn through every distraction. The path of the ruler is lonely by design. It requires decisions others cannot understand, sacrifices others would not make. This is not punishment. It is privilege. Let others chase approval. Let others lose themselves in longing. You stand unmoved. Build your throne atop solitude. Let your purpose be your lover, your vision your companion, your discipline the roots that hold you upright when the storms come. And if you choose to love, love like a ruler, never a beggar. Let your affection be rare, deliberate, born not of need but of fullness. Hold your boundaries with quiet strength. Give what you choose, not what you must. Remember, a king may have a queen, but the kingdom must always come first. The mission must always supersede the romance. This is Machiavelli's final warning, his gift to men who still dare to rise. Love is not your master. You are. Love less, rule more, and the world will follow.